Mock the Week was one of the BBC's longest-running panel shows. First airing in 2005 on BBC Two, the show followed a simple format. Take the weekly news, make jokes, and ridicule the people in the headlines.
Is David Cameron saying, I met your mum once?
With hosts Dara O'Brien and Hugh Dennis on the panel, the show ran for 17 years on BBC Two, but not without its controversies. From its inception in 2005, the Mock the Week format stayed the same, offering comedians to make quick and witty jokes based on news stories and current events.
What does EPIH stand for?
Empty Parachute Incident Horror.
This was a contrast to other political comedy panel shows, such as Have I Got News For You, which is a much more slow-paced show, allowing the panellists to create more of a discussion about the news as opposed to Mock the Week's fast-paced jabs at politics, which had more of a focus on comedy and making jokes at the expense of making deep political points. Each episode followed a structure of rounds allowing comedians to explore different news topics from around the world, but also rounds that swayed away from the news, allowing comedians to make jokes on other topics. These rounds included Spin the Wheel, If This Is the Answer, What Is the Question, and Unlikely Lines From. The show consisted of two teams of comedians, 3 on each side, but this is where the problems started to occur for Mock the Week. Let's take a closer look at the teams and their panellists. From 2005 to 2013, the panellists on Mock the Week were nearly always men. In the 202 shows and 1,505 listed appearances on these shows, only 247 of the appearances were female. Only 61% of the episodes from 2005 to 2013 had a female panellist in, and the 70 episodes that did feature a female comedian, not a single episode had more than one woman. It took until 2017, 12 years after the show's debut, for there to be more than one female comedian on the panel. This led to complaints towards the end of 2013, resulting in BBC Director of TV, Danny Cohen, announcing a requirement for at least one woman per comedy panel show in 2014. While making sure that a female comedian does appear on the panel seems like a positive at first, the reality is that this requirement suddenly turned the appearance of a woman on Mock the Week from genuine to the token woman.
Unlikely things to hear on Mock the Week.
And on this week's episode, 4 women.
Dara O'Brien criticised the BBC's quota, saying that the move will make female guests appear as the token woman. O'Brien went on to say that the BBC should have evolved instead of legislating for token women. Comedian Milton Jones, who made more than 20 appearances on Mock the Week, described the policy as counterproductive. Jones went on to say that the appearance of women should be left to those in charge and then try to get in as many women as possible. If you make a rule about it, then the goodwill breaks down. The problem with gender quotas is that they are, by definition, sexist. It assumes that female comedians can't get a seat on their own and need a spot reserved for them. It also makes audiences wonder whether a female comedian has been put on the show to reach the quota or because they're actually funny. Of course, the BBC did not evolve into including more women on panels until the 22nd of June 2017, where, miraculously, Angela Barnes was accompanied by Kerry Godliman, this being the first time 2 women were on the panel in the same episode. Catherine Ryan appeared on the show 17 times between 2012 and 2015. She made the headlines when announcing in 2020 why she left Mock the Week on the Telling Everybody Everything podcast.
I love Mock the Week. I love Dara. I think that show has given a platform for so many British comedians, but I had to stop doing it because I knew that every time I was booked on that show, I was taking food out of the mouth of another woman. I was never taking James Acaster's spot. I was never taking Ed Gamble's spot on that show. I was always 100% of the time taking a job away from one of my female peers. It really helped me open up a fresh audience. It helped me on tour. It helped my writing. And I wasn't allowed to do the stand-up round, apart from once. And they always made us sit in the same chair. Remember, we'd always be on the right in the middle. No wonder female comics are a bit like, yeah, we've been saying. If we wanted to deal with this kind of bullshit, we'd have gone into politics.
She said she didn't want to be the pedestal feminism booking. Mock the Week had some of the worst female representation for a TV panel show in the UK. Discounting the shows that have less than 50 episodes, Mock the Week has the second lowest percentage of female appearances in the UK, only beat out by They Think It's All Over, which ran from 1995 to 2011, and had only 5.6% of its total panelist appearances being a woman. However, similar shows, such as Would I Lie to You, would often feature the same guests and have a much higher female representation on its show. So why could this be? During its time on air, Mock the Week was described as a panel show with an aggressive and uncomfortable atmosphere.
No.
Yeah, I tell you who doesn't hate Connie Hark, eh, Dora?
She's a good girl.
The competitive and fast-paced environment of the show became the source of its comedic energy, but also a target for criticism. Jo Brand, a female comedian who has appeared on many British comedy panel shows, including 6 Mock the Week appearances, refused to be on the show anymore, citing the aggressive bear pit atmosphere as her reason. She called it the toughest gig on television, with people often shouting over each other to make themselves heard. Jo recalls seeing one comedian read out every joke they had written down after struggling to get heard, in hopes that one of the jokes would actually make the cut. This hostility during the show's recording could have discouraged many female comedians in taking part in the show, especially more established comedians that don't need to appear on the show to benefit their career, or comedians that don't want to take part in this bear pit environment. Frankie Boyle's time on Mock the Week was riddled with controversy from offensive jokes. Famously, a one-liner about Queen Elizabeth II, "I'm now so old that my is haunted," which aired during the round What the Queen Didn't Say in her Christmas message.
I've had a few medical problems this year. I'm now so old that my pussy is haunted.
This joke got many complaints about sexism and ageism. However, the BBC Trust ruled that while the joke was in poor taste, it did not breach any editorial guidelines, as it was broadcasted after the watershed and within audience expectations for the programme. Another incident involving one of Boyle's jokes was about Olympic swimmer Rebecca Adlington. After her gold medals in the 2008 Beijing Olympics, Boyle joked that she looks like someone who's looking at themselves in the back of a spoon.
When she arrived back on the flight, she met her boyfriend. Did you see her boyfriend? He was really attractive. He was like a male model. So from that, I have deduced that Rebecca Adlington is very dirty. I mean, if you just take into account how long she can hold her breath.
This humiliating, unjustified and sexualised comment received 75 complaints to the BBC, which resulted in a formal apology from the show's producers.
Sitting at home for the first weekend after the game, medals jangling in Mansfield, and then, oh, I haven't seen Mock the Week in about 4 weeks' time. I wonder who they're tearing it.
These types of jokes so early on in the show's life really set the tone for the type of humour that comedians would need to make to get noticed in the show.
Tonight on Russian cookery, cyanide, polonium, and a crab stuffed with explosives.
Inappropriate, humiliating, and at the expense of others. Often these jokes would be at the expense of host Dara O'Brien, who would frequently have insulting jokes hurled towards him.
Hello, I'm Dara O'Brien, and I've got a massive head and a massive brain, but all I get to do in this bit is just press a little button.
These jokes would be from panellists ridiculing his nationality, voice, weight, and appearance.
Mr. O'Brien, I award you a PhD. Phenomenal head, Dara.
However, O'Brien defended the show against suggestions that it encouraged bullying, saying that the jokes about him were allowable, and saying that if he was in a low-status position on the show, then it would be bullying. He went on to say that since a lot of these jokes were from comedian Ed Byrne, a close friend of Dara's, he thought that they were acceptable.
You don't like it because Fatberg was your nickname at school.
It truly wasn't.
I know. It was Baldy.
With Mock the Week being such a huge and successful show, it was a crucial stepping stone for lots of comedians, including Russell Howard, Frankie Boyle, Angela Barnes, and many more. The show allowed budding comedians to be booked and put on national television for everyone to see their skill in telling jokes and to reach a wider audience. Despite the show's rocky and controversial start,
Given that what we know of the Germans historically, How long will it be before they start using these toads in their pornography?
The bear pit competitive environment had seemed to have faded out as the show evolved and matured. On the Happy Hour podcast, Rhys James talked about his first time on the show and how he was treated.
Do you feel really... Do comedians feel really competitive when they're on a show like that? Like, is it a bit of a...
I don't think so. Mock the Week had this reputation before I did it, long before I did it, of being this bear pit, and everyone would write articles or in interviews would say, oh God, it's horrible, you can't get a word in and all that sort of stuff. By the time I did it, everyone was so nice. So like, you hear all these stories, but before it, Rob Beckett was on it, he phoned me and the day before and said, it's going to be fine, here's how it works, don't overthink it and all that sort of stuff. This is not what you would have heard before. Ed Gamble was on it, he'd given me loads of advice in the past about it. Gary Delaney was on it, and he, on the day, came to my dressing room and was like, here's just like some quirks with this show that you might not have experienced. So like, don't worry. Basically, they just, for the most part, it's just like, don't worry if a joke doesn't work. It will already have moved on.
He describes his first appearance on the show in 2016 as a very positive one. None of the bear pit environment or talking over other comedians to get a joke in. Not much competitiveness. This change in environment could be from the vastly different demographic of comedians that appeared on the show over time. In 2006 and 2007, when Joe Brand was appearing on Mock the Week, the show had only just started. Frequent comedians that would appear on the show would be such as Frankie Boyle, Russell Howard, Joe Caulfield, and Andy Parsons. If we compare these comedians to the cast of Rhys James's first appearance on the show, which consisted of Ed Gamble, Rob Beckett, Gary Delaney, Zoe Lyons, and Hugh Dennis, you can see a difference in comedy styles and demographics.
And his shadow cabinet is now basically the Sugar Babes.
Much more of this cast are modern comedians who tend to take more light-hearted, less offensive, and edgy jokes. This, along with the large increase in women appearing on the shows, gives the impression that Mock the Week was starting to evolve from late 2016 and beyond. However, on the 21st of October 2022, Mock the Week would have its final ever episode, never to be aired on television again.
Goodbye.
February 1st, 2026. Mock the Week is aired on television. The show stays mostly the same. Dara O'Brien still is the host with two teams of 3 comedians answering questions about the past week's news. The round format stayed mostly the same, with classic rounds such as scenes we'd like to see and picture of the week.
I show the panel a topical image and ask to tell me what's happening. So teens, what's going on here?
Is this none of our business?
Impressively, the runtime of the show has been doubled to 1 hour and features new segments in the episode to help reach this runtime.
The next round is called Between the Lines. It features Glenn and Rhys. Rhys will deliver a speech in the guise of a leading figure on the world stage, while Glenn will translate what they really mean. This week, Rhys is Peter Mandelson.
Oh, good.
But perhaps the most important thing to note is that the show is no longer on the BBC, but instead on TLC, an originally American TV network with their own British channel.
How far down the channel list is TLC?
At the time of writing, brand new Mock the Week has just finished its first season. So, what's changed? Straight away, we notice there is consistently more than one non-male panelist per show. Every show in the first season has at least 2 female comedians, and episode 3 has 2 women and 1 non-binary person. BBC's Mock the Week only featured more than 2 non-male panelists twice in the 17 years of its life. This proves there's clearly more of an effort to make the show more diverse than it once was, and crucially, without said diversity being felt like it's mandatory. Additionally, the longer runtime makes each episode feel less like constant quick-fire jokes and a bit more like a slower-paced conversational show, which the panelists seem to be enjoying more. There have also been lots of references to the show's time on the BBC, joking about the censorship, potentially allowing them to make topical jokes that would not be allowed on the BBC.
Is it how many people actually got COVID?
Yeah, fuck the BBC. We say what we want on TLC.
All in all, Mock the Week's return is so far a positive one, with its first season being a great success. Its time on the BBC had controversial jokes, lacked diversity, but gave young comedians a chance to be discovered and viewers a way to laugh off the struggles the country faced in the news. I hope that new Mock the Week continues on the path of growing into a show that represents a wide variety of comedians in a non-toxic environment.
Thanks for watching. I'm Dara O'Brien. Good night.